Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. There is a problem in Scotland that is very rarely addressed. Now, there's an article here that does address it, but it is something that I have mentioned before. Was some time ago, but it's something that really ought to be quite frightening. And that is, there's going to be a massive problem with the population of Scotland, and it's not the problem you're thinking of. The problem we've got is, as the population ages, there's fewer and fewer young people supporting those who are older, because fewer and fewer people are having smaller and smaller families. And this is the important thing, there's a lot of people leaving Scotland to go to predominantly England for work or education, who then don't come back. You go down to university because you can't get a place in your free university in Scotland. So you go down to England and you sit there, you learn, you spend time, you have friends, you build a life, you maybe get into relationships and things, and a lot of people stay there. And so you're losing the young people out of the country, which means then as a proportion there's more and more elderly. And this is a massive problem all around the world. I mean, South Korea is probably the worst for it. But Scotland has got a major problem brewing, and it needs to do something about it now. Let's take a look. Now this, what they call the population time bomb, has only got two solutions. Either immigration, which then weakens your culture, dilutes it, destroys your cultural identity, your national identity, or you take the route that Hungary has done, and it encourages childbirth. Poland, the same. In fact, all the Visegrad countries are doing it. And they're offering tax breaks for women who have third child. They're offering payment over and above the rate for people who have more children. Now, in Hungary, it's one of the very few European countries that's actually increasing its native population. Virtually every other one, the populations are being decimated, weakened, diluted. The culture is being stripped away. The heritage is going, and vast third world immigration is replacing the native species. And whenever there's mass immigration by a non-native species into a territory, the natives always get come out worst. One only has to look at the history of humankind to see that. But we'll take a look at this to see if there's something Scotland can do and how much it's likely to cost, I suppose, really, ultimately, and not just in terms of money. So Scotland faces a population time bomb as birth rates plummet along with marriages. The number of births was down almost 8% between October and December 23 as the long-term trend to an ageing population continued. And it will continue. But it's going to get worse, as I say, because it's not just smaller families, fewer of them, but also emigration of the young. And Russia has got another problem. Just as a quick tangent, Russia will have the same problem. The Russian population has fallen massively, and I mean absolutely massively, since the 80s. And it's going to fall massively again because Putin has sent all those young men to their deaths in war. And these are the young men that would otherwise come home, have babies, raise families. They're just not there. And so these women aren't having the children. The population of Russia is going to have a massive, massive implosion very soon. Within a few years, it will be noticeable. And that, of course, then creates further problems going forward with an increasingly elderly population. Anyway, Scotland is facing a population time bomb as the number of births plummeted in the final 3 months of 2023. Despite the population reaching record levels at the last census, immigration, the number of births registered in the fourth quarter was down almost 8% against the average, according to the National Records of Scotland. And you can guarantee that the big fall in that, it may be down average of 8, but the big fall would have been way more than 8 among white people. As a further sign of Scotland's ageing population, the number of marriages fell by 9% in the same period, with a higher proportion of older people. It is likely to put extra strain on Scotland's already struggling public services over the decades. Not that they're able to know because they've screwed up the census so badly, nobody's got a clue. The latest NRS quarterly report on births, deaths, marriages and other vital events found 11,332 births happened between October and December. This was 7.8% lower than the average for the same period in the previous 4 years. What would be interesting would be to see an ethnic breakdown of those births. That would be where the true frightening figure was. The infant death rate was 3.4 per thousand births. This is lower than the first 3 quarters of 2023, but there has been a generally increasing trend in infant death rate since 2020, and you can lay that at one factor alone, and it is undoubtedly the main factor, and that is poverty. The report found a total of 15,793 deaths among people of all ages in the final quarter of 2023. This is 6.5% lower than the expected number of deaths for quarter 4. So fewer births, more people not dying. Ageing population, massively. NRS statistician Philip Haxton said, in the last quarter of 2023, we saw the continuation of some long-term trends. We're still seeing falling numbers of births and rising numbers of deaths. And in part, this reflects the changing age profile of the population, which is steadily growing older and will continue for some time until you have tax breaks to encourage native Scots to breed and breed big. As I say, Hungary introduced tax breaks and rewards and all sorts of things. They paid women. I think Hungary. I'm not sure the exact figure, but it's like they paid women an extra £100 a week to stay at home to look after a third child, and it's just proved so successful. And Hungary has got a massive increase in native Hungarian births. It's working. There were 5,643 marriages between October and December last year. The number of same-sex marriages was 232, which is similar to the average for the fourth quarter, which goes to show what a small, tiny percentage of gay and lesbian people there are. You know, when relatively speaking, just on the rough of the numbers. So it's about a 1 in 20, isn't it, roughly? Something like that. Just under. Civil partnerships have been open to mixed-sex couples since 2021, and of the 183 which took place in the quarter 4, 146 were between mixed-sex partners. You know, so it's there, and nobody cares. I mean, you know, whoever you get your fun with, whoever you get your, you know, you want to live your life with, it's nobody's business but theirs. So, you know, good luck. Hope you have a nice, you know, happy married life. Don't care. Literally don't care. But the difference is, of course, births. It's the birth rate that is the big one. It's the birth rate amongst native Scots that needs to be monitored, not the immigrants. Immigration weakens your culture. This is without doubt, and it damages the indigenous population. So it's up to Scots to breed more. Same in Northern Ireland, same in England, same in Wales. Breed more. Screw them. Let the government pay. Anyway, I'll stop there. I'll come up and we will finish the video and move on. When a population falls quickly, you end up with a situation where you have very few young people working incredibly hard to pay the pensions of the elderly. But it's beyond the financial. It's also caring. You know, you can have one child caring for 2 grown adults, or possibly even 3. It could be multi-generational. It becomes very hard on that child who's going to have to work, raise his own family, you know, downwards, and look after his family upwards. It's a difficult situation. It's one that they're already dealing with in Japan and Korea. But in Japan and Korea, they're dealing with a vast increase in social care via technology. But we don't have that in this country yet. We don't have the infrastructure. Certainly don't have the money. So it's a very weird thing. Plus their culture is somewhat different as well. Our culture is very much different from the Far East. It is an issue and it needs addressing. And the only way to address it is for you, ladies and gentlemen, who are able, us oldies, probably not so much, but the young ones especially, do your duty. Breed lots. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. do please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, and go off and have some quality time, boys and girls. Bye.